While actors will often draw from their own experiences while playing a part, that's usually in a broader emotional context, tapping into their own feelings to try and bring truth to their character's journey. But sometimes a very specific event which happened to their character is also something they've gone through, allowing them to bring basically unparalleled levels of authenticity to a scene in question. With that in mind then, I'm Josh from Whatculture.com, and these are 10 movie moments that actually happened to actors in real life. Number 10. Woody Harrelson impersonated Elvis as a kid. Zombieland Double Tap. In Zombieland Double Tap, Tallahassee, played by Woody Harrelson, regales Nevada, played by Rosario Dawson, with the tale of how he grew to love Elvis. He explains that his mother took him to see Elvis as a 10-year-old boy, and a few years later in high school, a friend encouraged him to perform an impression of the king in the school library. Young Tallahassee broke out a spirited rendition of Jailhouse Rock and tore the house down, even jumping onto one of the library's tables for good measure. And better yet, the moment earned him the attention of his crush, Robin Rogers, who gave him a peck on the cheek. And hilariously, this is all basically true, as Woody Harrelson has told this story on numerous talk show appearances over the years, that he actually did become interested in acting after being encouraged to sing Elvis in his school's library. Better yet, Robin Rogers is also a real person who, while not giving young Woody a kiss, was the vice president of the school's drama club and encouraged him to give acting a try. The rest, as they say, is history. Number 9. Dolph Lundgren quit MIT for a girl. The Expendables 2. The Expendables franchise has had a lot of fun introducing wink-wink meta-references to the various roles that its iconic ensemble cast are best known for. But in the case of Dolph Lundgren, his unstable mercenary character Gunnar Jensen was actually lent some unexpected inspiration from the actor's own personal life in the second movie. During a chat amongst the group, Barney Ross, played by Sylvester Stallone, mentions that prior to becoming chemically unbalanced, Gunnar went to MIT, got a master's degree in chemical engineering, and later quit studying to become a bouncer in order to get close to a, quote, girl who danced at this disco. And again, hilariously, this is almost all entirely true. Lundgren indeed attained his master's degree in chemical engineering in 1982 and genuinely received a Fulbright scholarship to attend MIT thereafter. However, he was convinced to quit studying by model/singer Grace Jones, who instead hired him as her bodyguard after meeting him at a nightclub, and after that, the pair became lovers. While most probably assumed the line about Gunnar being secretly smart was just pure fiction, it was also riffing quite hilariously on how Lundgren's own intelligence has been so thoroughly underestimated throughout his career. Number 8. Alicia Silverstone pronounced Haitians wrong. Clueless. One of the most memorable gags in Clueless occurs during the famous school debate scene, where Cher, played by Alicia Silverstone, has to argue for Haitians being allowed a refuge in the US. Except the character actually pronounces that word completely wrong, enunciating basically every letter of the word. However, it was so perfectly in character that it's almost impossible to consider that this was anything but a well-written gag expertly performed by Alicia Silverstone. But in actual fact, in that moment, Silverstone just was her character, because she genuinely believed this was how the word was pronounced. Rather than correct Silverstone, however, filmmaker Amy Heckerling realized that she had comedy gold in the can. Number 7. Michael Keaton got brutally typecast. Birdman. To be fair, Alejandro González Iñárritu's Birdman is a film entirely fascinated with the real cinematic history of its lead actor, Michael Keaton. Here, Keaton plays Regan Thompson, a washed-up actor still best known for playing the superhero Birdman decades prior, a part which is implied to have made him typecast and caused him to lose out on juicy dramatic roles ever since. And it isn't difficult to see the obvious parallels with Keaton's own career, given the phenomenal success of Batman and Batman Returns, which led to Keaton's own typecasting and a major career downturn, which lasted for close to 20 years. And ironically, it's Birdman the movie which saw Keaton stage a well-earned Hollywood comeback, securing a Best Actor Oscar nomination and appearing in a steady slew of acclaimed dramatic fare ever since. And without Keaton's innate understanding of everything his character has been through throughout the movie, it wouldn't have felt nearly as authentic. Number 6. Austin Butler also lost his mother at age 23. Elvis. Whatever your take on Baz Luhrmann's Elvis, there's no denying that Austin Butler gives a phenomenally transformative performance in the role, one that rightly netted him a Best Actor Oscar nomination. Butler lost himself enough in the part that he even struggled to stop talking like the king once shooting wrapped. But beyond that, one tragic aspect of Presley's history was also shared by the actor himself. See, Elvis sadly lost his doting mother Gladys when he was just 23 years old, a loss shared by Butler himself, whose own mother Laurie passed away from cancer when he was also 23 years of age. In an interview with Today, Butler said that discovering this unfortunate shared connection nevertheless helped him tap into who Elvis was. Number 5. Perminda Nagra scarred her leg while cooking as a child. Bend It Like Beckham. Bend It Like Beckham's infamous baked beans story proves there's absolutely no substitute for the profound weirdness of real life. In one scene, protagonist Jess, played by Perminda Nagra, expresses self-consciousness over a pronounced scar on her leg, and explains to her coach Joe how it all happened. Here, Jess reveals that she was 8 years old and attempting to cook beans on toast for herself while her mum was working a late shift. She jumped up to the grill to get the toast and her trousers caught on fire, so her sister dumped her in the bath, poured cold water all over her, and then pulled the trousers off, taking much of her leg skin with them. And this story isn't just 99% true, with the only difference that Nagra herself wasn't cooking beans on toast. It is also an integral part of how the actress got cast. See, during the casting process, Nagra was concerned that her prominent leg scar from this real-life incident would prevent her from being considered to play Jess. But instead, the filmmakers went in the total opposite direction, hiring her and deciding to write the story into the script. Number 4. Channing Tatum worked as a stripper in Florida, Magic Mike. Much like Michael Keaton in Birdman, Channing Tatum categorically lived the part of Magic Mike before playing it on screen. In the series, Tatum plays an enterprising male stripper living in Tampa, Florida, and the role is influenced by Tatum's own 8-month stint working as a stripper in Tampa under the moniker Chan Crawford when he was just 18 years old. While the bulk of the series' events are only loosely based on Tatum's own experiences, just like Mike, the actor spent a while removing his clothes and dancing to make ends meet, making between $50 and $150 a night, depending on how busy it was. That all certainly ensured that Tatum would be 1000% convincing in the role, because while not everything in the movies happened to him for real, certainly not the increasingly outlandish events of Magic Mike's Last Dance, he did live that life and knows the precise essence of it. Number 3. Tom Arnold lost his ice cube trays in his divorce, True Lies. Unquestionably, one of the most memorable one-liners in James Cameron's True Lies occurs once secret agent Harry Tasker believes that his wife Helen is cheating on him. Harry's friend and colleague Gib, played by Tom Arnold, promptly welcomes him to the Broken Marriage Club, before regaling Harry with a hilarious story about his second divorce. He tells Harry, quote, "I come back one day and the house is empty, and I mean completely empty. She even took the ice cube trays out of the freezer," end quote. And if that story sounds oddly specific, that's because it was contributed to the script by Tom Arnold himself, who was also in the midst of a messy divorce from Roseanne Barr during shooting and claims to have had the very same Ice Cube-related indignity happen to him. Number 2. Gloria Swanson struggled to transition to talking movies, Sunset Boulevard. A bit of a deeper cut now with Sunset Boulevard's brilliant Gloria Swanson. In the film, Swanson portrays Norma Desmond, a former silent film star who struggled to successfully transition into talkie pictures. Swanson was such a perfect casting choice for Desmond because this is precisely her own lived history. She too was a legendary, glamorous actress of the silent film era who failed to carry that success into the talkies. And according to writer Charles Brackett, he never considered anyone else but Swanson to play the part. And given the obvious parallels between player and part, it is easy to believe him on this one. The major difference between the two, however, is that Swanson had largely accepted her fading stardom and wasn't especially seeking a major comeback with Sunset Boulevard, but rather just a hefty payday, and hey, I don't blame her. Number 1. Ryan Gosling went through a version of the baseline test, Blade Runner 2049. While you might not expect much of Blade Runner 2049's high-concept sci-fi shenanigans to be rooted in any sort of tangible lived experience for its cast members, that's not entirely true. You might remember the sequence where replicant K, played by Ryan Gosling, is subjected to a baseline test, that being an exam administered to check whether K's replicant hunting work is having any impact on his psyche. Though the particulars of the test aren't fully explained, we do see K reciting a string of poetic dialogue before entering into a call and response type exercise, with the examiner asking questions where K replies with either cells or interlinked. And by not deviating or registering a heightened emotional response, he passes with flying colours. And believe it or not, this intense sequence was influenced by Ryan Gosling's own experiences as an actor, enough that he actually ended up writing it himself. See, the baseline test is inspired by an acting exercise called dropping in, which Gosling had been subjected to in his younger days. The exercise operates in an extremely similar structure to the baseline test, with the subject being asked a battery of questions while being expected to repeat a given word as a response to each of those questions. The exercise aims to forge an emotional connection between the actor and the word in question, and as a student of this method himself, Gosling put it to fascinatingly effective use in Denis Villeneuve's mammoth sci-fi blockbuster.